Cat's breath smells like cat food. Cat's breath smells like cat food. Cat food. Cat food. Cat food, everybody. Brought to you by cats and food. Rock music intro. Let me turn off the there we go. Look at that. Click the graphics. Oh, freaking graphics. When does this song end? I don't know when the song ends. This becomes a part where the song ends and then we can start the show, right? This feels like an end break. This feels like an end break. No. No, you've been tricked. You've been tricked. You've been playing a fool. You've been played a fool. It's not the end of the song. The song will come later. When is it? I don't know. Is the end? What's up with this intro? Is it on repeat? Oh, there we go. That's the end of the song. What's up, everybody? It's Friday. What's up, everybody? What's up? Oh, how do we? Oh man, I forget. How do we start the show? Do we know how to start the show? Oh yeah. What is it? What's up, guys? Is that
What's
what it
up,
is?
guys?
What's up, guys? Welcome to YouTube. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe and hit the like button and hit the smash the like button. Run into it. Push your belly into the like button. Like, give it a chest bump. Squiggle it. Squiggle the like button. Pinch the like button. I don't know. I mean, do whatever. Welcome to the internet where I have to tell you guys to do stuff. Hey, I'm telling you, do the stuff. Push buttons. Robot overlords, Neo, the Matrix, all that stuff. It's trying to get us. Sorry about the long intro, guys. Natural Aquarium says longest intro ever. Big yawn. Well, I'm sorry about that. Alyssa was stuck in some kind of traffic interaction, and then she parked with a 98-point turn, like this. If I had my camera out, it would have been something that would have showed up in a sitcom in 1997. It would have been a solid parking joke that would have just blown everybody's mind in 1997. They would have been like, oh my god, wow, what a good joke, everybody. Parallel parking is tough. Michael Bublau is here. Oh, who was first to the chat today? Aubrey. Obs himself was first to the chat. Our previous winner of Meme of the Week. I wonder if I still have Meme of the Week in here. Do I still have that in here? Do we have buttons? Do we got buttons? What is this meme? I don't know what this meme is. Oh my god, it is! It's Meme of the Week! It's the Meme of the Week from a long time ago. Winner, chicken dinner, Mr. Aubrey himself. The soul-crushing memes. I love it. Chirish was number 2, and Mikey Fishy was 3rd. Frank Dominguez from the Attic coming in 4th. Zip Gun himself, all the way from Florida. Paula Kreinberg, Rickhab Harris, S. The illustrious S. Pipex, Linda Worth, Michael Sarr, Wesley's Fish Club, Fish Tank Barn. Zilfer Nide, Sharpies Models and Aquatics. Michael Bubla, we'll say it again. Who knows? Why not? Michael Sarr. There. I think we got it. Sunwise, and Random Robert, and I think that's it. I don't know. Our chat's pretty slim today, So it's slim. Our chat's super slim today because Alyssa's here. I think you guys are all just. What's the word we're looking for here? You're like worried or something. I don't know what it is. You're stressed out. You don't want to throw your question out there and have Alyssa like crush your will to live or whatever. I don't know, words and stuff, because this is a live show. I don't even know what I was going to talk about today. I had notes and then I deleted them because I was like, I don't want to talk about that. So I got rid of it. It probably had some kind of political connotation, but who knows? Probably not. It probably had to do with fish tanks, and I think I was being a little bit of a grump about some other people out there, and so I deleted it because I was like, I don't want to talk about that today. That sounds like a bummer. And you know what? It's sunny out here, in lovely Western Washington. It's sunny. It's nice. It was hecka moist. It was super moist. It was quality moist. The moist was coming down from the heavens just all over the place. Places were flooding. People were like, there's too much moist. My God, my house, it's filled with moist. And, yeah, that happened. But now it's sunny out. And then it's going to be moist again later. So deal with it. Western Washington in autumn. Is there a song about that? Do you know that song? It's like, Western Washington in autumn. It'll be moist. It'll be hot. It'll be frozen all at the same time. Right? Is that how that goes?
I feel
and
like
then it's like
if
Oliver,
there is,
Oliver jumps out on stage and then the fiddler plays a fiddle on a roof. Right?
if there is one, it's probably in that Nearly Live show that I've recently just discovered.
Oh, Almost
from
Live?
way long ago.
Almost Live. Yeah, you posted some Almost Live stuff.
Yeah.
And Mr. John Keister himself. I'm still friends with two people from that show.
Cool.
Yeah. A brilliant show. Pat Cashman is the guy who went pretty nationwide. Don't know Pat Cashman. No.
Well, he's not on your side.
But I did a bunch of theater sports stuff many moons ago, and they were the ones that would host the...
Can they hear me talk?
They were the judges. They can hear you talking, but you're not on screen yet.
Who knows? I could be wearing a cat mask.
It could be a ghost. It could be a spooky ghost down here, you know what I'm saying?
I could be.
Yeah.
You don't see any...
Alyssa has recently discovered Almost Live, the TV show, on YouTube. Yeah. Which is funny because she's like, I think this is like a decade ago. I'm like, no. This was uploaded to YouTube a decade ago. This stuff was out when I was 15, that show was going. So 25-something years ago, that show was ripping it up. Skunk Cabbages says that's where Bill Nye got started.
Really?
Yep. That's where Pat Cashman got started. That's where Nancy Guppy got started. John Keister, a bunch of peeps.
Great. So was it one of them like public access cable news shows or whatever that they had in the local area?
It was a local TV show, yes.
Okay.
Not public access.
Yeah, sorry, it's the wrong term.
And it would come on after the news right before Saturday Night Live on the weekends. So it was like it would fill that like 11 to 11:35 or whatever, like when Saturday Night Live comes on.
Okay.
It would fill that time slot. So, and it was, sketch comedy show, which is my thing. I love sketch comedy. I would love to do sketch comedy, but the big problem with that is costumes and other actors,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I should bring you on the show. Let me push the button over here. Oh, we got to do the patron thing. Become a patron on www.patreon.com/Joel_C. That is the Patreon. Or just become a member on YouTube, and I'll change the number on here as we get closer and closer to world domination of being able to go YouTube full time. But it's actually going backwards as far as the members go. We're down to 81, which is 8.1% of the way there. But patrons went up to 163. Although as soon as I change to the next page, I'll probably have to update those numbers over there. Oh no, look, they're updated. Oh, except this one's too many. This one's too many right here. Let me access this feature of this number. There we go. Yeah, 3. There we go. It was too high. We didn't want to get too full of ourselves around here, you know what I mean? We don't want fake stuff going on. There we go. I gotta move see that? Sometimes I have to move my camera around so that it's like fits better. There we go. You seem like you're lower. Why are you lower?
I don't know. I was slouching.
Are you slouching?
I was, yeah.
See, there we go. We'll just do the show like this. Okay. Yeah.
It's perfect.
And there we go. It's good. And we got it, and it's locked in. Can't change it. It's locked in.
Okay.
Can't change.
We got the little gnomes are chiseling it in stone.
It's set
every
in stone,
frame.
bros. Set in stone, dude. We can't even deal with the how much stone it's set in. It's unbelievable. But big shout out to all the people who follow the show here. And then, do we have any questions that we got going on? Let me read the chat. I don't know if I know how to read anymore, guys. What is Alyssa? What have you had going on this week?
Geez. Basically just like aquarium maintenance. I actually finally had a bit of time in my day yesterday to like gently scrape all the duckweed off of one of my neglected tanks and try to get some light down to some of these plants that are supposed to have color, and and then like plant them into the substrate again, because of course they're stem plants and they were just kind of like floating up at the top in a big tangle. So we'll see how that ends up looking in a couple weeks. The water's already cleared up a little bit since yesterday, so that's good. Other than that, I have gotten like 6 spam calls today, which is fun. And I keep canceling them, and that's weird. And other than that, I've got I'm going to be driving down to almost but not quite Portland tomorrow to deliver some fish to a lady. And that's about it.
You driving to Portland to deliver
almost
some fish?
but not quite.
Like Vancouver, Washington?
Yeah, it's just like just out, somewhere around there.
Grand Mound.
Somewhere around there.
You're going to drive down to the Grand Mound.
Yeah, the whole point was, I mean, she was like, oh, can you ship them? And I was like, I could. Or I could drive down there and do like a day trip. And we're going to go with Justin and do like a day trip down to like almost Portland, or maybe even just go over to Portland, maybe see an antique store or something like that, because that's the thing that we do.
Right. Antiquing.
And then he has to work.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just going to be me, and it's less fun, but I already told her I would, so.
Super boring.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
That just sounds like a lot of extra driving.
It is, but, I mean, you got to drive the car at least once a week. Otherwise, the oil settles or something. At least that's what my dad says.
You got to keep it in working order and make sure it's not falling apart.
Yep, exactly. It's only a couple years old, so.
Let's see. Has anyone tried them freeze-dried cubes of fishy food that stick to the wall like those ONIP tabs? Yes. But the ONIP tabs got reconfigured. They changed the recipe. There we go. That's that's a better way to describe it with my mouth words. The ONIP tabs got they changed the recipe on them, and I don't think that they're the same as they were before. So I can't necessarily recommend them because I'm just not sure on the new recipe ones. Because I had a bunch of the old recipe ones, and then those got used up, and I didn't buy any of the new recipe ones because I was like, "There's a new recipe, and I fear change." I don't think I want change when it comes to fish food like that.
Yeah,
and I heard that it was a lower quality.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, huh. All right.
That doesn't make sense.
So I moved on.
Yeah. I don't know. I've tried.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's not that I changed. You changed, ONIP tabs. And
it's not me, it's you.
It's not me.
It's why it's not working out.
It's not working out.
It's just not working out.
Sorry, fish food. It's not working.
Yeah. I have tried a few freeze-dried whole worm products in the past, and in general they seem to not work well with my fish in my situation, which doesn't mean that other people it won't work for. Just it didn't work for mine. And yeah, so I don't bother with them anymore.
Just don't bother. What was the freeze-dried, what am I thinking here?
Bloodworms?
Yeah, bloodworms. Who makes those? I forget. I was trying to remember. Where's the ones that I've used? I can't find them.
I don't know.
Don't you know? You should know.
Mine came in a yellow container, which makes me think they were probably Tetra, but
Yeah, like that. Those are probably the Tetra ones.
yeah, something
The
like
ones
that.
that I used were different. They were different. They came in a big silver bag. And I can't remember what they are now. And I was trying to get a bit of a brain remembrance from the Amazon search here, and it's not helping. They don't seem to be on here. Because normally I'd be like, oh, that's the one. That's what they were, but definitely not here in the top listings.
All I know is that I stopped feeding feeding those, and then eventually I started going through the big container of various dry foods that I keep.
This
And
thing
was
suddenly
like,
turned-
oh, well, this is expired. This is
thing suddenly
expired.
went. This thing went chicken mode.
Oh,
It switched over and it started telling me about chicken mealworms. Are you guys familiar with the chicken mealworms? If you have really big fish, these can come in handy. But I wouldn't recommend them for small fish.
like
If you had a koi pond, you could throw these
Yeah.
out there and they'll float around and the koi will eat them. I don't-
koi will eat
this
pretty
thing-
much anything
This
though.
thing just went full on chicken mode on me.
Wow.
So weird. So weird. Oh, Federal Trade Commission tells me I got to tell you I posted an Amazon link and I'm an Amazon affiliate, so I get a commission if you buy Amazon stuff through the link, and I have to say that because so you know for sure that's what's up. Anyhow, moving on. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just thinking if you had like a big cichlid or something like that, you could feed them that. It makes sense.
Somebody bought lots of shoes off the Amazon affiliate.
I think we were talking about that last Friday.
Do we got to do dad shoe updates? We got to do dad shoe updates. What?
I still have not asked my. I'm just gonna text him right now.
You should text your dad and find out what dad shoes he's
I
on.
will do that right this second.
Somebody went strong into the New Balance game. Somebody went strong into the New Balance game, and I gotta admit, some of these New Balance styles don't seem to be dad shoes. Okay, I'm just saying. You know, if you were trying to rep the dad shoes, you're gonna turn these bad boys green. These didn't come through. These look a little, you know, like you might be displaying some of your youth, and you might be a new dad. Is what I'm saying. Is that you might not be repping the I've been a dad for a long time. You better listen to my authority. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm putting out there, just so people know. You buy these hip dad shoes, people aren't going to take you seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be like, oh, that's a 12 millimeter. And they're going to be like, nope, I don't trust this guy. He's got those new fancy dad shoes.
Right. See, I don't know if you can see this, but my dad, all he does is he recommends stuff to me. This is the knife sharpener I'm supposed to get.
Hey, you should check out this knife sharpener.
Yeah.
That's super weird. My dad has not gone that route. My dad is not like, hey, dude, I got to tell you all about stuff. He's just like, yeah, I don't know. It seems like you're doing your thing. Cool. I don't want to bother you.
Yeah. No, that's my dad. I don't know. I'm like, I want to ask about his day. I want to know like how, you know, his wife's doing. His wife's kids.
Oh my God.
How's grandma?
These are grandpa shoes right here. Oh my God. Hey,
Dang.
I gotta get you guys the link for this one. These are the grandpa shoes where you can't even be bothered with laces anymore. Check those out. Those
Oh,
are
yeah.
white on white with a gray sole.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even be bothered with laces anymore. You're just like, I'm going back to Velcro. That's one thing I find to be fairly interesting with the elderly and the children.
Well, they got
Those vibes. You know, they got those
the-
similar vibes. Like, I want to eat mushy food.
They got the
I don't want to
arthritis.
eat crunchy things. I want to eat mushy stuff.
You get old enough and you got the arthritis and you can't do the laces and stuff anymore.
Agreed. I mean, I'm going to get there.
Mhm.
I'm going to get there. Well, I mean, maybe. I might just get run over by a reindeer. Dad jokes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to get there too. So I'm just getting prepared for my future. That's all I'm saying. I'm getting ready for Velcro shoes. You know, and stuff like that.
Heck yeah.
Dave's been a dad for over a decade. Dad shoes are whatever fits and is comfy. F the brands. Form follows function.
Yeah.
He's just straight up. He's over at like Payless Shoes.
You don't get good shoes at Payless.
It's true. You don't.
I've spent many a year buying shoes at Payless and ending up with things like plantar fasciitis and just all sorts of stuff. And just like sore feet, sore ankles, sore everything all the way up. It's not a good plan. If you can rustle up that like $120 for a good pair of shoes that actually last longer than 3 months, that's what you should do.
Right.
But it's the same thing with like the poor spend more than the wealthy. Like if you have enough money to buy the good shoes, then it's better for your health and better all around, last years and years, right? Versus if you can only spend like $10 on a pair of shoes, it only lasts like 2 or 3 months before it wears out, and also it's hurting your back and sending you to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we weren't gonna do politics.
What happened?
What?
I don't know. Are we gonna do politics? We can do politics. I don't care. We'll talk about whatever, man. I'm all game for all that.
I only have theoretical things. I don't know anything specific that's going on, other than apparently there was a shooting in, was it Kansas, Tennessee, at a Kroger. So far, 2 people are dead. 1 person was a victim, and 1 person was the shooter. And there you go. 12 people were shot.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I only know that because some of my relatives live down there and were marking themselves safe.
Oh. When that happens on Facebook, you're like, oh, I haven't logged into Facebook today. Let me see what these weirdos are up to. And that's like all of a sudden there's like 5 people mark themselves safe, and you're like, great, what happened now?
Right. And so then I found like the news story about it, and so that's pretty horrible. And I don't know. It's just awful. Every time it's awful. Stop bringing your guns around and stop taking it out of the people.
Here's the question I got. Are you saying that when random people get shot that are just at a grocery store or something, that it's a bummer?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. We're just going to verify that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bummer. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Stop it.
Yeah, it's not
Go
good.
to therapy instead.
Yeah, just cut that out. Therapy would be helpful.
The $300 that you would have spent, or whatever, however much it costs, instead spend that on therapy.
I will tell you. So you mentioning therapy like brings up a debate I had listened to recently, a little while. Wow, COVID recently, probably a week ago, 5 weeks ago, who knows? Where it was like somebody was arguing against mandatory kids mandatorily going to school. Like somebody was mandatory education. Somebody was against it, and it was like, what? And then it was like, but their whole stance was like, well, you have to make school better so that kids will just want to go. It doesn't have to be a mandatory thing. And it was just like, I don't know what to tell you, but like sometimes people just have to be directed in the correct way to go. Because there could be like an ice cream party. There could literally be like an ice cream party at Chuck E. Cheese's or something.
Right.
And the 7-year-old might not want to go. Like, I don't really want to go. I just want to stay home. Right? And you'd be like, it's all the video games and ice cream and pizza, the cheese. What is it? The rat casino?
Yeah.
Pizzeria? Like it's open. And some kid would be like, I don't want to go. And you'd be like, yeah, but it has all the stuff you want to do. Like,
it's
for
got
sure.
animatronic bears that sing crazy songs. Like a possum that comes up out of a tree.
Animatronic robot rat pizza casino for children's. Yeah, I don't know.
It's got skee ball.
It's got skee ball.
It's got skee ball all year round. That's my
favorite.
Skee
ball is fun, dude.
That is my favorite.
Yeah, skee ball rips.
I still want to go and play
skee ball. I kind of hate going to skee ball because Vicky will hog it. She'll hog the skee ball.
Is she like really good at skee ball?
I don't know that she's like really good. I mean, I don't know if she could go pro.
I don't know. Is there a skee ball pro? This is where we need.
I was
Vicky
gonna
to come
say
down
no.
here.
I was gonna say no, but it's possible.
It is.
We got to see if there's professional skee ball. Is there professional? Oh, softball is the first. Is the first automatic fill.
Huh.
Skee ball. Is there professional skee ball?
As a sport.
Skee ball's Roy Brubaka Hinojosa is one of the nation's best rollers.
Oh my.
After years of near misses in tournaments and hours of practicing on the skee ball machine, he keeps in his in-laws' garage. 33-year-old library administrator Roy Hinojosa of Austin, Texas, is now the national skee ball champion of the United States of America.
So in other words, the answer is yes. And this is the show where you find out all that stuff you didn't realize that you need to know.
I swear. He keeps a skee ball in his in-laws' garage. I
Not
mean, it just has
his.
a vibe like exactly I would have expected.
Yeah.
Just like the Pac-Man World Championship guy. You know that dude? He's the Pac-Man dude. It was like he's got like a Pac-Man. He's got a bunch of Pac-Man games in like a dirty old garage somewhere, and he's like, I'm practicing 12 hours a day for the championship, and you're just like, dude, bro, I played Minecraft for a half an hour the other day, and I kind of felt bad about myself, although it was fun, and I was relaxing. But I don't know. It's weird. This whole world's weird we're living in.
I just downloaded shaders
but
for
like
mine.
the conscripting, the not conscripted school, sorry, that's the wrong way to put it. The mandatory, what is it?
Education?
Well, it's mandatory, like it's there's a
Compulsory.
word compulsory. There we go. Compulsory education. Thank you. The compulsory education is incredibly important for 8-year-olds. They're not gonna,
They don't want to go.
But I'm like,
They don't want to learn math.
if you want to make the educational
hard.
if you want to make the educational system better, making it not mandatory is not the path to go down. But the reason that I brought up the therapy thing is that somebody brought up a really good argument against that, which was like, yes, we understand, like, we don't want, parents to be forced to do anything, this or that or the other thing. Like, okay, we understand that. But they brought up, like, suicide. And they were like, suicidality, you would want somebody to step in if something was going on, right? And it's like, yeah. Well, what if their parents aren't stepping in, And it's like, yeah, but you would want somebody to step in,
right,
and help out, even if the parents have just decided, like, I'm not going to do anything, right? And eventually the whole, like, non-compulsory school argument completely fell apart once you start to realize that, like, sometimes you have to step in on stuff, and having something that's compulsory like that gives you the reasoning to step in on something. It's like, hey, this kid hasn't shown up to school for 3 weeks. What's going on?
right.
And you go like, let's go find out, because they haven't shown up to the thing they're supposed to show up to. Let's go find out what's going on. And you have a mechanism in order to
Right.
easily facilitate, like, finding out what's going on.
And it's
then they
really
go like, well, and then it was like, well, if they have suicidal thoughts or whatever, they should go to therapy. And it's like, yeah, of course they should go to therapy, for sure, 100%. How are we going to provide that? I don't know, through the school system? Duh. Like, let's expand it and make it better. Of course. Yeah, this is
Right.
kind of goofy.
Parents have to go to work. Kids should go to school. Someone should be able to pay attention to these kids. And if nobody is like, okay, if we roll back in time 1,000 years to where we're all in like these tiny farming communities where of like 20 people and everybody knows like everybody's kids,
Everybody.
like this is all your aunties and uncles that all kind of live in the same little community kind of thing. Then yeah, if you see little Jimmy running off into the woods with a hatchet, okay, little Jimmy isn't allowed to have a hatchet right now. Or little Jimmy obviously has a hatchet because his dad told him to go and bring in some firewood, one or the other, right? So fast forward to today, we don't have the same environment. Like, for instance, you could have somebody from 2 or 3 houses down whose dog runs out of their yard, and you don't know whose dog it is because we don't all know everybody in our little general area. That's
Right.
more than 20 people in a block.
Right.
And and so it's hard to keep track of that. So if we don't have a system in place where somebody is like ticking off a box, this person's here, this person's here, that person's there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we have to kind of mimic the old societal way,
Right.
but still allow society to progress.
Yeah, yeah.
And so there you are. That's what's going on, I
All right.
think.
Reading the chat here, we've got, how about Joe Biden? Articles of impeachment filed against him for arming the Taliban in violation of separation of powers. Not much mainstream coverage on it, but worldwide news is going nuts. First off, I would say I'm not sure worldwide news is going nuts. I didn't even see it in the AP or anything like that. Articles of impeachment were indeed filed. They're not going anywhere. It's not even going to pass the House to go to the Senate, but even if it did, somehow miraculously, it wouldn't get past the Senate, you know, like, so it's kind of ridiculous. But as far as Joe Biden arming the Taliban is total nonsense. It's just a complete nonsense argument from anybody out there. We needed to we as the American military needed to no longer be in Afghanistan. That's it. They evacuated. There was a suicide bombing, which is awful and terrible, and it sucks. For anybody to blame the president for that is it's a level of absurdity that I do not comprehend. Yes, there are, I guess, some people still there that wanted to evacuate. I assume that they're probably doing whatever they can to evacuate, but it's nonsense to have armed the Taliban. All of the technology that was left there is old stuff. I mean, they're like, look, the Taliban has new Hummers. And you're like, the Hummer doesn't give them any kind of like weird tactical advantage that they didn't have before. They have vehicles, like they could access vehicles. It's not a new thing. Like they have guns and stuff. Like, yep, those are all just firearms, you know, same stuff that's everywhere, you know, out there. I mean, they didn't receive any kind of intel or new technology that they didn't have access to, you know. So, I mean, it's a bummer, but that whole situation out there is just a wild, long conversation. But the reality is, you know, Trump kept saying he was going to pull the plug, never did. Obama said he was going to pull the plug, never did. W got us into the whole thing by just lying, basically, and we somehow give him, like, oh, yeah, that was a while ago, so whatever. You know, like, what? It's total nonsense. So,
It hasn't been 23 years yet. It's only been 20.
Right. Yeah. You know, so it's just kind of a wild thing that it just had to come to an end, and just to somehow imagine that, like, it would have been a magical evacuation or something. I don't know. I mean, nobody has a playbook, and if anybody does have a playbook, they are in the U.S. military already. So, you know. Adam Wing says they have our soldiers' bio info and scanners. Our soldiers' bio info and scanners. Kind of a big deal. Well, let's see. Let's see if soldiers' bio info and scanners in Afghanistan. Let's take a look. We'll do a quick Google search. Oh, here we go. The Taliban have seized U.S. biometrics and military devices. Okay. So once again, this is not some kind of this isn't some kind of like special military technology that doesn't exist, by the way, in the civilian market. Do you see what this is right here? This is a bioscanner. Like fingerprints, retinal scans are in iPhones, you know? Like it's facial recognition technology is in Facebook, it's in all of our phones, it's in all of the crap that we carry around. You know, so it's just, once again, like, this just, yeah, it sucks that there's a bunch of stuff left lying on the ground. It's a bunch of equipment that could have easily been, instead of spent on war machine stuff.
It's so weird.
Instead of spent on war machine stuff, it could have been spent on food aid and care, you know, health and all that kind of stuff instead of that. But it's like,
my initial thought with, oh, they've got their bio info, and I'm like, I immediately jumped to like Star Trek age technology. I'm like, ah, crap. Are they going to clone us?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
do they have our DNA?
Holy crap. Wesley's Fish Club just became a member for 12 months.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, it means he's a member for 12 months.
All right. I don't even know what this means. And yeah,
Thanks,
like
Wesley.
I was saying, basically, is that it's a bummer what happened in Afghanistan. It's awful. And the reason I say it's a bummer, because I don't need to have some kind of crazy inflammatory language for you guys to understand that, like, I'm wildly opposed to war. I'm wildly opposed to these military conflicts that just seem to go nowhere, and all they do is just immediately put disaster and dead people, and it's yeah, I'm totally opposed to that. I'm much more a fan of utilizing our political influence in order to, you know, sway other countries and territories and things like that to go in a direction that we want them to go in. It's a lot easier to do that stuff, and I know that we focus on that a lot more often nowadays, but you know, like, the military proliferation that has happened for the last 70 years in the United States is just nonsensical. We were warned about it, and it happened, and we're here. We got to figure out how to navigate it from here on out. But, you know, evacuating is the right thing to do, regardless of how it went down. It sucks. No, it's a 12-month anniversary. YouTube gave me a free message.
Oh, neat.
Oh, so you get a free message once you've been a member for a certain amount of time. Look at that. Look at that. Wesley he's like reaping the rewards. W. Clark says, I'm sure most folks' information is available in the deep dark web for all the data breaches over the last decade.
Thanks, Experian.
Well, yeah. I mean, most folks' information is fairly readily available. There are things that you can do to protect your information and stuff like that, for sure. You know, VPN and encryptions and things like that are obviously fairly important this day and age. But, like, you know, for people going like, oh, the Taliban has our secret military stuff. It's like, they don't. Like, they just don't. First of all, like, the secret military stuff, like, how do you know? How do you know that they have it? You're like, but they have the secret military stuff. Like, so you know what the military secrets are first, and that they've got them second.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? You know, it's like, they have the biometric scanner. It's like, that's not, well, clearly it's not a secret, because here's a whole bunch of pictures of the biometric scanners and stuff. Like, clearly this is technology that has existed for a long time, and yes, they got some of it, right?
Be showing up in like a trench coat with your hair swoop and be all like, hi, I'm Agent Fox Mulder.
Right. Yeah. I'm Agent Fox Mulder. And I know that, like, I've a bunch of friends of mine that are like super woodsy conservative kookaloo Bible guys. that are constantly firing their guns off into the air and doing all sorts of stuff like that, right?
Oh.
Those guys all freaked out.
You mean littering their bullets?
Well, they all freaked out because the Taliban got... So what was being reported was the Taliban, they all got new rifles and they got new scopes and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, man, they got that scope. That scope costs like $9,000, blah, blah, blah. What are they going to do with that scope? They're going to shoot it at somebody. It's like, it's still on a 30-06 platform. So it's still a gun shooting a bullet at somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, those scopes are there. And I'm sorry, Jerry, that you didn't get a free scope. You could fly over to Afghanistan and apparently find some free ones there if you
Just
want.
laying around on the ground.
Yeah, but it's just like they didn't get like a bunch of free like space technology or something.
Like manna from heaven.
Yeah. Michael Bublé says fish memes melt steel beams. That's right.
We hardly ever have enough fish memes.
I mean, the 20-year anniversary was 2 weeks ago of the Twin Towers coming down. And do I remember where I was? Yes, I remember where I was. It is a real tragedy for sure, 100%. But the conspiracy theories around that have been wound up for the last 20 years to the, an airplane wouldn't bring a building down. And the funny thing is the steel beam thing you're talking about was most readily explained by an iron worker where stuck a chunk of cement on an I-beam and then heated up the I-beam. And it's like the I-beam doesn't need to heat into liquid metal in order for the beam to bend, because this is the mechanics of how iron gets bent. You heat it up and then you apply pressure to it like a weight on the top. And that's, yeah.
Well,
And,
isn't that how you bend spoons?
yeah. Like in the Matrix.
Yeah, like in
You're
the
like,
Matrix.
I'm gonna bend this spoon.
This is
Actually, those spoons are actually made out of a metal that
yeah. Well,
heats
there's
up at room temperature, basically.
yeah. Well, there's like two ways to do it. You could do it the hard way, which is to sit there and heat it up yourself, or you can get the trick spoons that do it the other way.
Or I suppose you could just do a bunch of crack.
Or you could do a bunch of yep. But
That's
that
not
would
good.
discolor the spoon, though. When you
Sure.
over a spoon, it discolors the spoon. I know, because I have tried melting sugar in a spoon.
Yeah,
like
it got weird
actual
over here.
sugar. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, candying sugar is hard to do. It's
Yeah.
hard to keep the temperature correct.
And I don't know why I tried to do it in a spoon. I think I thought I was being fun. I don't know.
Hey, Mary Page Flynn is here. What's up? What's up, Mary Page? We don't know what we're talking about today, so we don't know what's going on. Regular guy says, were you talking about to Charles Dickens? No, I wasn't talking to Charles Dickens.
Someone
Charles Dickens
asked
is
me
dead.
fish questions, for goodness sakes.
Michael Bublé says, like, mental health was what we were supposed to talk about at the family table decades ago, and everyone is looking around at one another still wondering who is going to bring it up. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it's a solidly... that's one of the weird things, is that, like, maintaining mental health is something that I don't think a lot of first world people are actively working on. I don't know if people are necessarily like actively working on mental health in the first world. As I see a lot of people sort of succumbing to like really not like easy to avoid situations or something like that, but I think like I see a lot of people have like kind of not like easy to avoid is not the right way to put it, but like avoidable pitfalls. You know, does that make sense? Not easily avoidable, but I think like if you were consciously working on your mental health, like I think it would have been avoided all around.
Well, I don't know if this is the case in your family or for your family's, your parents' generation, but in my family and my parents' generation, like you wouldn't talk about, you would just openly deny any kind of mental health anything.
Oh yeah.
So if anything was going on, you just tuck that right down. You just tamp it down, you put it in a box, and then you bury it. Because feelings they're like treasures and they should be buried, right? And and so, and it's also the same with like, apparently my mom and her sisters and my dad and his brothers and sister, they don't talk about any kind of like health issues that anybody's having, so nobody knows like any of the health issues that anybody's having in my family at all. Like they just don't talk about it. You find out maybe later that somebody went to the hospital, like how your dad called you later, oh, I was in the hospital, so that's why I didn't. Yeah and so now, like, with me and my sisters, we're sitting there just like in a group chat, like, oh, I'm going to the doctor today because this is happening and blah, 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 blah. I'm on this medication for that. And, you know, like, oh, I know you, younger sister, have this kind of problem, so maybe you should ask the doctor about that just in case, and da 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 da. Maybe get an MRI, you know, and maybe that'll solve all your problems. And and they'll be like, oh, I didn't realize that was a thing. And my mom is in the group conversation. She's like, wow, it's weird that you guys keep talking about your health issues with each other. And I'm like, well, I mean, how else are we gonna know? And she's like, well, I just think it's crazy because we don't do that in my family. Like with my sisters, we don't know what's going on, you know. We have to like find out somehow. Like it has to somehow be picked out.
It's got to percolate somehow.
Yeah, like you have to magically find out from word of mouth from somewhere or whatever. Nobody will just talk about it. And it makes it a lot harder to do things like I didn't find out that my grandma from my dad's side and how she passed away very, very young. She was only like 36. And it was cancer. And I didn't know that. I was just told she drank herself to death.
Yeah.
That's what I was told. And that's why nobody in my family drinks. Is because of that. And my dad, when I turned 37, then told me what it is that his mom died of. Like he was waiting to see if I would survive to 37 to let me know. And I'm like, don't you think I should have had that medical history to tell my doctors so that, you know, they would know to look out for something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. No, it's one of the weird things in the US. Like you literally go to the doctor's office and they're like, do you have any family history of this or that or the other thing? And it's like, I don't know.
I think I heard a rumor of somebody having this problem.
Yeah. But like we have no like real reporting system that actually works, you know. And that's one of those things that like, so one of my buddies who's a PhD in and is very involved in the homeless and all that. Like that's his whole field is, what is it, social engineer. I don't know what it is. Engineering's not the right word, but like he works with the peoples, you know what I mean, like a social worker.
Yeah.
But that's what his PhD is in. I don't know the specific thing or whatever, because I wasn't hiring him for a job, so I didn't get his like specifics. But he was going to school forever, and he was always working on it. But it was one of the things that he was talking about that I thought was very interesting was, in his opinion, that like probably between 50 and 70% of the homeless situation that he deals with on a regular basis could be solved with an actual health reporting program that actually worked.
Yeah.
Like if they actually were able to have their, their health and mental history, and then wherever hospital they went to could be looked up. He's like, we could avoid all of these crazy interactions more often than not, because most of the homeless have like interacting medications and stuff that makes them go crazy or makes them have a problem or this or that and the other thing. And obviously substance abuse is an issue, but substance abuse often comes hand in hand with being prescribed a bunch of drugs that make you do wacky stuff whilst living on the streets and having nobody to back you up and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And it's just like this wacky cycle that just keeps going.
Right.
And it was one of those things that I was like, huh. And I went to like kind of look it up and I know that like there's been a lot of people trying to push for something like that you would actually have a family medical history that, you know, obviously it doesn't have people's identification in it, but it's like, you know, second aunt had breast cancer, you know,
right.
Both grandparents on this side, you know, on the mother's side or whatever, multiple grandparents had heart failure or whatever, you know what I mean? So you could actually have a medical history so that doctors could apply that a lot better, but who knows if that's ever going to happen, because people freak out about HIPAA violations right now because of whether you're vaccinated for COVID or not, you know, and you're like, this isn't a HIPAA. What? This isn't HIPAA. This would be you presenting the fact that you have been vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a HIPAA violation.
No.
A HIPAA violation is somebody else exposing your medical history to someone else, you know, like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah. Which makes me always wonder if I should run for like state representative, because it's pretty clear that like any bozo can get elected in that. I guess you just got to like.
I actually got approached randomly by somebody, some campaign who was looking for people to run for like, I don't know, city government or whatever in the town that I recently moved away from. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't live there anymore, so I can't. And they're like, well, okay.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, but thanks for asking.
Thanks for
randomly.
Asking, W. Clark was asking, I need an air pump to run 2 10s and a 40-gallon. Aquarium Co-op's linear piston air pump is too big. Any suggestions? I posted a link to a smaller Alita pump that is a linear piston pump that typically runs. I would say that you could run four aquariums off of it pretty easily, maybe 6. But it's the smaller one. It's pretty quiet. You guys know me. I normally recommend to buy like bigger equipment because it'll last longer and blah blah blah. But with that little application, I would go with that. I think realistically, if I was only running 2 10-gallons and 1 40-gallon, I would probably just run a hang-on back instead of a sponge filter myself, because it's really easy to maintain a hang-on back filter if you only have like a couple of them.
Yeah.
They work really well. The Aqua Clear ones are my favorite ones. Aqua Clear, the 30s are my favorite ones. This one, right, y'all. And
I like the 70s personally.
Well, you're just a baller. That's why. But here's the link to those in case you are like, what is he talking about? You can look at it if you want. We're an Amazon affiliate around here.
Yep.
So if you go through our link, just go buy whatever you're going to go buy. Somebody bought dildos a while ago. I got to tell you, just so full disclosure around here. Somebody bought dildos a while ago. I don't know if it was a gag. Somebody was doing it because they would think it would show up on my thing. Well, it did. And
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just as far as Aqua Clears go, I like 70s. I do also get the 30s sometimes for like a smaller situation. I don't like the 110s. You don't like the 110s? They're
too big?
They're too heavy for the little pin on the bottom, see?
Mm-hmm.
They should have 2 for the 110s, but they still only have the 1, and the plastic on it is slightly bendy. And so it's like if it's full of water, it's like super heavy and it's like trying to collapse against your tank, and then the thing is like, I'm trying,
Man.
and then it pops out.
I do remember just making a little shim that popped in back there.
Well, and then also the sponge inside is so big that it's actually hard to squeeze out. Like it takes
that you just gotta
time.
work out more. Okay.
Well,
that
takes a long time.
That you just gotta work out more.
I did start taking
Sorry,
up yoga.
It's not my bad. That's not my bad. You're gonna get arthritis. The next thing you know, you're gonna be wearing dad shoes around with the Velcro, grandpa shoes with the Velcro around.
Man, I used to have the
You're
best.
gonna be like 43 and going like, my arthritis.
Just 3 years, man.
Yep.
Just 3.
Yeah, you're gonna be yelling. You're gonna be yelling. You're gonna be shouting.
I'll be out
You're
there
gonna be
just
43-year-old shouting about arthritis. Just
I'll be
out
in
there,
the backyard.
just shouting. Ah, my arthritis. Sorry. It's funny if you're doing that. Then again, we could always make a YouTube video about it. We'll make a short. We'll make a YouTube short.
Right.
It'll just be you literally yelling, "My arthritis," and then that'll be it. That's our sketch for the day.
Yep.
We're gonna post that up, but we still have to get to 1,000. We still have to get to 1,000 members before we can start doing that.
Oh, okay.
We don't have enough members yet. I'm sorry.
Well, that's 3 years then for that to happen.
There you
so.
go. What is this? Amazon just sent me a.
Is that a workout bench?
They just recommended me a workout bench.
Nice.
It knows what's up. It knows what's going on. It knows what we're talking about.
That's.
We started talking about working out, and it sent me an email. Actually, no, it was from some hours ago.
Oh. Well.
It would have been cooler, though, if it had done that and just been like, Amazon affiliate, let's go. And it was all screaming, like, ah. And like, oh, God. Arthritis. Would have been funnier if it was just full caps, arthritis.
Yeah. Jim Williamson says, "Hey, didn't Corey say he has shoes with Velcro that everyone makes fun of him about?" And I'm like, I don't remember, but that is funny.
I don't recall him having Velcro shoes, but he might. Of all people, that guy is legit fully invested in making sure that he's comfortable. And I think if he had a whim one day where he was like, laces are nonsense, he might just order some Velcro shoes. He might. I wouldn't put it beyond him. That's all I'm saying.
To be fair, that's why I wear slip-on shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I got my I got my old kitchen Crocs that still, my old Birkenstocks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What are? Let's see if they're the most ridiculous shoes ever.
I like
clog. Zzz. Oh, zzz. Yeah, these things.
Nice.
They've lasted forever. Super Birky.
Mm-hmm.
You better order these ones. If you want a pair of slip-on kitchen clogs.
Are they non-slip in the kitchen?
They are non-slip. They are kitchen ready.
That makes them 800 times better than the shoes that I wear.
You know how you wash them?
Do you like hose them off?
Dishwasher.
Oh,
you put them in the dishwasher. It literally says inside the box.
Dishwasher
Stick
safe.
these in the dishwasher to clean them. These are them, and I swear, I bought them as a joke, like 100 years ago. I swear, 10 years ago at least, because I haven't been cooking in at least like 8 years or something. Maybe,
well, not
I don't know.
Professionally.
5 years, something like that. Who knows? Yeah, these things last forever. So if you wanted a pair, let's see how much. Let's look for a size. What? Okay, hold on. We gotta go. I think we need a different link. Oh, here we go. Where's the size? Here we go. 11s. How much are 11s in black? 69. Nice. 69.90. We'll have to put this one in. Because the other link only had like 7.5s or something. Let's delete that.
Oh.
Let's remove that. We'll take that one out. There we go. Aubrey says laces are nonsense. Yeah, man. I get where people are coming from on that, but I just can't have the floppy shoe when I'm working. You know what I mean? I gotta like climb up stuff all the time, and my shoe will fall off, which does happen.
As soon as it starts getting cold, I'll start wearing my lacy shoes again. But
just had an AquaClear fail and flood the room. Big bummer.
That sucks.
That's weird, man. I never really had them fail. I mean, I guess technically I've had them fail at some point, but I never had them fail and flood the room. That's weird.
The closest I've had to that.
I've had them just like not kick back on for sure, but
the closest I've had to that is if they, like we were talking about, if the clip falls, and then they're tilted back that way, and then they can start tipping off.
Oh, dripping out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that could happen.
Yep. So, Adam, it might just be like tip back, man. Just check that. Because if it's not like you want it to be level, man. And that's the big reason why I don't like the 110. Even though I still use it, I just kind of I've got some stuff glued onto the in between the tank and it. I didn't make a shim, but I got those like.
You can make a shim.
I made the those what are they? Them doorstop thingies that you can get at the hardware store and just glue them on. Not glue them, but they come with a sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just kind of.
That makes sense. The seal around the cord. Oh, like where it clips in at the bottom?
Oh, dang.
Where the motor clips in? That's weird, man. I've never seen that other than like them jammed into a box. I've had that thing snap off before, like when in storage or something, like pushing the lid down. I've had
That's also like an electric shock hazard.
It could be, but I think it's just like the plastic container part, and then it clips in the motor, the impeller clips in there. So I mean, it doesn't sound like the wire itself broke or anything like that. It just sounds like the thing that clipped in maybe cracked or something. I don't know. That's a bummer though. I don't know.
That sucks.
I think they have a pretty good warranty on them, so I would consider sending it back, and maybe you can get a new one. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're not the most expensive things in the world,
true.
But still, I mean, if you spend $50 on something, it should work.
Crazy.
At least most of the time.
Explain your. Can you explain your snail farm for a minute? And I'm gonna be right back.
My snail farm. Yeah. Yep.
Too much coffee.
Yep. Okay. As far as snail farm, it's largely unintentional. I breed plecos and shrimp. And one of my tanks that gets really overwhelmed with snails, I'm just like trying to grow up like 6 super red plecos that are about this big, which is roughly an inch. And then a whole bunch of like, what are they called? Snowball shrimp. But the snails were very numerous the other day, and they were like I could see my plecos were trying to get into the food, but that it was like crusted over with snails. And so I just went in there with a net and just started like gently scooping out the snails, making sure the shrimp are off of it, and putting them into a bucket. And I did that for a few days in a row. And and so then I just brought him to Joel because he's got a puffer. And that's pretty much it. I also have assassin snails, but in another tank. And I'll put some snails in with the assassin snails in the other tank. And that tank does not get overwhelmed with snails. So assassin snails, they work.
Yeah. I had too much coffee. I had to run. It was gonna happen, dude.
Sweet.
Yeah. So you got assassin snails in there to like keep them down, or no?
No. So I've got one tank that has, actually technically 2 tanks that have assassin snails in them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do actually feed from the overwhelming tanks, the assassin snail tanks.
Oh. Okay.
But you're getting the overflow. I'm like,
yeah.
They were like crusting, like, like a salted nut roll.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if the filling is rapashi.
Right.
And then the nuts are snails.
Like scoop that out. Like, give me all them snails.
Yeah. So I was just kind of like scraping the snails off of it and like freeing because I have, 6 super reds, little babies that I'm trying to grow up in this one other tank. And yeah. Well, now I have to go to the bathroom.
All right. Good luck. The way Cardi B said coronavirus can be Alyssa's version of the My Arthritis video. Yeah, Cardi B, what a weirdo, dude. Like, it's unbelievable to me that somebody that has access to millions of dollars and could easily like access experts and expertise and research and stuff like that is literally like, I heard a guy who's a friend who had got big, his testicles got crazy swollen, and that's why you're not going to get vaccinated. Like, okay, that seems very weird. But also, just a reminder that celebrities are probably not a resource for medical advice. I think that's what that boils down to. It's cheaper individually, too, than paying for insurance on my basic minimum wage type job. I pay what works out to me maybe $15 a month. Then any prescriptions are a maximum of around $12 or whatever. Sharpie says it's almost like social health care is a good thing. Yes, social health care, socialized medicine is a good thing, and I think that we need to apply it in the United States. I think, unfortunately, how that's going to look is it will probably end up being one of the big states will just start doing it, I think, at some point. Just to kind of prove the point, I guess, might end up being the deal. But the unfortunate thing is that we sort of rely on the federal government for spending a lot of money because there's realistically no cap on how much the federal government can spend, whereas the state, local, city, county, all those stuff, they need to balance the budget. They can literally only spend the amount of money that they have coming in tax dollars versus the federal government can spend in overture. So I don't know necessarily how that will look or how that will work out, but my assumption would be it'd be one of the bigger states will end up implementing something that maybe it's a stopgap or something. I don't know. That's probably seems to be the only way that it'll ever get the ball really rolling on it, but who knows? There's a giant infrastructure bill going through right now, which is fairly interesting to see, and I'm actually kind of encouraged by it because I think it would definitely implement a whole lot of new jobs and stuff to do and things that need to get done. It's crazy to drive across bridges that you look at the date as you drive over it whilst stuck in a traffic jam, and you realize, like, this bridge was built 48 years ago. I wonder if it's going to break. I don't know. But it would be a bummer if anybody was on here and it did. Sounds like a French delicacy to me. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Let's see. If the aqua clears had the power head in tank, I'd be all over that. Okay. So you're probably running a sponge filter with a power head on it? I don't know. That whenever I was running sponge filters, I was never really running them off air, mainly because the air drives me nuts. It's loud, and it just is a personal... I don't like that noise at all. When I go into somebody's fish room and they have like 900 air stones running, I'm like, I don't know how you zen in here, bro. It doesn't make any sense to me. Literally just like blurping and just bubbling all over the place. But I do have been using some of those Zeiss.
I don't know. I think we're all saying Zeiss.
What are they called? There's like a name for them. The Zeiss. What is it? Zeiss.
I think we've just been calling them the Zeiss filters.
Zeiss filter. Zeiss bio bubble filter? This thing?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're $40 on Amazon.
Wow, that's way more expensive than they used to be.
Wow,
I got mine for $20.
I think Aquarium Co-op is the place to go for those because I don't think that they're $45. Let's take a look. Aquarium Coop.
Do they still carry
bubble filter. I moved a ton of these boxes around the other day, so I'm guessing that they do.
Probably then.
And by the way, they pack them like 200 of them or something to a box. I forget. They're like really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Which was funny because the guys in the warehouse were complaining about moving those boxes around. And they're like they're palletized. They're on a pallet, like, and they had to move them over to a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was recounting to them when I had to move all of the boxes by hand.
Oh, out of the truck?
Yeah. And they were like, what? And I'm like, yeah. Yep. We got them that one time, and I was the only person that could, like, physically move them. And so it was like, hey, can you move all those? Like, yeah, it's gonna take a while, but all right. By the end of it was like, God, I don't want to see any more of these ever again. God, get away from me. But yeah, they're only $28 at the aquarium co-op. $27.99. Sorry. So that's much more affordable than $45. So let's not go that Amazon route. But I remember the fish.
You, Bezos.
The fish tank barn. The fish tank barn did a review on, I think, this one. Is it this one? No, hold on. I think no. It's this one over here. The Quan. I don't know how to say this. Quanvi. I don't know how to say that. Quanvi. I don't know how to say that, but it's like a different company version, and maybe that's what you want. It's only $17. I don't know. Fish Tank Barn did a review on it, and it seemed like, hey, it worked fine. But I've only used the Zis ones, and I like them. They seem indestructible. I did hit one with a hammer to see if it would be destructed, and it didn't. It didn't be destructed, so that's good. And they're pretty quiet. I just run them in my sump. You can't really hear them. So that is how I get the workaround on the hearing the bubble sounds.
I can hear mine. I have one running right now. And it sounds like, to me, it sounds like a rock tumbler. Which to me is just as loud. And yeah, so talking about the noise of sponge filters and stuff, that's part of the reason why in my future fish room that I want to build, as you know, and as I'm assuming a lot of you guys know, right now everything's scattered around my basement, and I'm like, it's driving me crazy. I want it all in a room. Why I want to put the insulation on the ceiling as well, because in the house, like if I'm in the kitchen and I'm not cooking something or cleaning something or whatever, I can hear the fish tanks below me. I can hear them. I'm like, if I'm quiet, I can hear them.
Well, we're probably not going to do insulation. That's all I'm telling you right now.
Well, you said we can have the people come in and do it.
Yeah. Well, insulation doesn't do much for sound, so that's why I'm saying.
The Roxol claims that it does.
Cool.
That's what I'm saying. I was reading about it.
I mean, if you want me to put insulation in there, I will. And if you think it's going to kill the sound and I tell you that that's not what you need to do, and then we do that, and then I have to take it out later, that's your bed.
Well, I assume it would also keep the heat in. And the sound is just like a bonus.
It will keep some of the heat in. Sure. All right, we can talk about it during the show. So the main body of your house is going to keep the basement pretty warm.
Yeah.
Because it's already inside a building. It's not going to be wildly affected by the ground because the ground temperature isn't really going to change.
Right.
Even though when it gets cold outside, it will help get colder in the basement. But the heat escaping up through the floor isn't going to be that dramatic. So it might be a waste, but what we'll end up doing is probably stack multiple layers of sheetrock with sound deadening in between it. Like you sandwich it in between.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's generally the way to do it, if anybody's wondering.
Cool. I did not know this. And that's why I'm not just looking up like YouTube how-to videos and trying to just do it myself.
You just got to check out the YouTubes, guys. YouTube's totally helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like YouTube is totally helpful, except for when you start to realize that like most everybody is doing the clickbait thing. And there was a very comprehensive video that I wish I had the link to that I could share to you guys, but it realistically explains like everybody does clickbait because it works, because y'all fall for it. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it, but I just don't like doing it.
Right.
So yeah, it's not my
I
thing.
feel gross doing it.
Doing clickbait?
Yeah, like
You make clickbait content?
okay. I do have a channel that's about like this big, right?
Right.
And
Did you do the, oh my God, all my fish died?
no. So what I did was I noticed that a couple of my fish were going through the mating process, and so I filmed the whole thing, and all I could think was, I should label it porn.
What? Did you label it porn?
No, I wanted
label
to,
it
but
porn.
it would have been fun. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. It's not good. You get the wrong kind of attention, that's for sure.
Yeah. It would get a lot of clicks, but a lot of click-aways, I think.
Yeah.
45 minutes of pure pleco porn.
Hey, you just put the random bikini chick in the thumbnail, so people click on it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, bikini girls. Installation will help, but not as much as soundboard. Yep. Would CO2 diffuser reduce the sound of the air bubbles? Well, I mean, I guess technically, but you'd really have like you'd have to force oxygen to go through the CO2 diffuser. Whereas like the Zis bubble filter just does that already.
Yeah.
There's bubble and oxygen in there, and you get a little K1 media. It's I don't know. I feel like it's $20.
It works, and I'm not.
Like, I'm just saying I like that better than a sponge filter, is what I'm saying.
Right. And so for me, like if I'm building a fish tank, I think about where it's going. Like if it's going to be in the living room where the TV is and stuff, then it's not going to be run off of just sponge filters. That's just because it's just going to be just noisy all the time. You have to turn the TV up twice as loud in order to hear it,
Oh, and then you start screaming about your arthritis.
And then you start screaming about your arthritis
That's
because,
right.
Justin, I can't hear the TV. We gotta turn it up. What did he say? Is this another one of those episodes where it's really loud during the exciting parts and then really quiet when they talk at each other? Yeah, you know what I mean. And so then it's like, that's when I do sponge filter with a power head on top, and I make sure the power head is below the water surface, but maybe pointed up a little bit so it does the ripply effect, without the like. I won't even do like a hang on back, because the hang on back has that waterfall sound.
Right.
And unless you have it all the way up, but then my fish would be like, perfect. I'm going to go and hide in the filter. Yes, brilliant plan. And then they get stuck in the filter, and it's not a great idea. And so I don't do that, but I do like the power head with a sponge filter underneath it. It's pretty good.
It's just too aggressive for me, though. You got to constantly be messing around with that sponge.
Really?
Huh?
Well, you just use
It's dirty.
open cell.
It gets dirty.
Large pore.
How many PPI we're talking about here?
Gosh,
We gotta figure out how many PPI. Is it 30? 20?
I don't
15?
know, man.
Oh my
I don't
God.
remember which is a fine
How many bubbles per inch?
pore and which is a
More number is fine.
more number is fine, but I can't remember like
No.
is 30 fine or is this
No, the higher the number, the more fine
yeah
the filter is.
yeah. So if we just do like
5?
3,
That's just a bubble.
just Swiss cheese it. Just Swiss cheese Bam.
That seems like a waste of energy, though. You put in a lot of energy to do that, and you're not filtering anything out.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the power head with the sponge on the top of it, like, you're constantly taking that thing out to clean it, which is a big pain as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got one tank that's got a sponge filter, the Zis filter, a sponge filter with a power head on it, and a hang-on bag. I was just like, nah, I'm just throwing everything at it. Like, for some reason, it just wasn't filtering enough, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna just in the kitchen sink, too.
Oh, my God. Elon Musk and Grimes break up after 3 years together. Oh, no, guys. Two crazy people are getting a divorce.
No.
Aw.
She didn't like his rocket.
Again. They're getting divorced again. Didn't they get divorced before?
I don't know.
I think they got divorced before, and then they got married again, right?
I don't keep track of their freaking relationship.
Oh, they're the worst. Hey, I got the phone lines open on Discord in case somebody wants to call in today. Just go in there and start yelling, and I'll hear you. Just go in there and go, arthritis!
Did I already answer W. Clark's? I think I mentioned the power head with the sponge filter underneath it. Filter.
Oh, my God. Lauren Boebert has sent a release calling to impeach Biden, but she's messed up the logo. It says impeach.
Oh.
They forgot the peach. The P. The peach.
I'm each. I
Oops.
am each. Each Biden.
Dave's Aquarium says the SpaceX. Get it?
Yes, I do, Dave. I do.
These jokes write themselves.
Right. Also, W. Clark canister filter, because you can set the intake and the outtake below the water surface, and that'll make it not all splashy.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I just don't particularly like canisters because I don't want to say I'm lazy, but I don't want to prioritize my time in that way towards maintaining.
Oh, disassembling them and doing all that.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'm like, nah, this time I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It's going to be good. And then, like I had a Fluval's 206 or something like that on a 40-gallon. And at some point, the flow just, like, slowed down to a trickle. And I was, like, taking that thing apart. Just, like, trying to diagnose the problem. All the sponges and everything were squeezed out. I'd cleaned out the impeller, put it back together, made sure all the, the pieces and parts and everything, the everything, and still it was just like that's the trickling. And then I was like, oh crap. Is there a pleco in the outflow or something? What's going on here? So I'm just like, so then I had to take the hoses apart, and they got those ribs and stuff, and it turned out that they were so full of, like, gunk that I had to sit there, like, pop an emergency sponge filter in the tank so that it would go. So then I had to, like, pour hydrogen peroxide down the hoses and just, like, let it sit there and eat up the gunk and then flush it out and just, like... And then just, like, stick it with the hose end of the, what's it called? The Python, and just kind of, like, force water through it to try to flush the crap out. And it was just very irritating. It was a very irritated Alyssa. Spent, like, hours trying to maintain this stupid thing. And I'm like, this is dumb. I should just go back to hang-on bags.
Yeah. Yeah, canisters can be, like, quite a bit of a pain, especially because there's a lot of proprietary parts in there, too, which is one of the big reasons that, like, I stopped using them a long, long time ago. I got tired of replacing, like, brittle hoses, impellers that went bad, having to cut sponge pieces because, like, the company doesn't sell the insert-specific sponge, all that kind of stuff. I gave up on that many years ago now. Although, like, you know, if you got a canister filter and you're still rocking it, like, go for it. But yeah,
For some people, it really works.
Yeah, some people are just way into it.
It wasn't. I have too many. Like, I can't be like 17 tanks and they're all on a different canister and just like, nah, that's too many hours out of my life. But that's me. If you have just like the one tank and you want to rock like an FX big thing and, you know, rock on and do that, this is not my life. Oh, and then like hoses that have to be in a little saddle thing or they collapse when they go over the edge. And I tried for a while to do the like fancy like glass things, but they're like teeny, and because it was on a small tank.
Yeah.
And I was
Lily
like,
pipes.
yeah, I'm gonna be all fancy
With your lily pipes.
my glass lily pipes.
And then they got all gunked up as green algae and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like water was just going.
Like, this is a bummer. Yeah, it's a big bummer.
I tried so hard. I got special tools to like get in there, pipe cleaners, you know, just.
Yeah.
And then like in 3 days it would be all gunked up again.
It's pretty lame, dude.
Yeah. So
I don't
then
know,
finally,
I thought lily pipes would be rad, and then
still have
mess
them.
around with them a few times, and I was just like, no, these are dumb, dude. This is ridiculous.
yeah,
They look cool, man, if you got some brand new ones, and
they're all shiny.
you know, that's kind of the weird thing is that like most of those like competition tanks are like those really like fancy videoed aquascapes and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, look at those lily pipes, these are awesome. They're like just put on like
Yeah.
just recently, you know. Yeah, and I definitely learned that when we were in Europe, just how much the display tanks are run like completely different than when they're on like the show floor, you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Austin is asking, how much gravy can you put into a 10-gallon? I was going to say 3 gallons.
Probably 10 gallons of gravy.
I don't know. Can you max it out with the density of gravity?
Well, I would think that gravy is actually less dense because most of gravy is fat, and fat is less dense than water.
Do you think gravy has more or less stuff in it than water?
Well, I think it has more stuff, but it's less dense.
Do you think gravy floats?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's already burned onto a pan, in which case then no, it does not.
Oh. I'm just wondering, do you think honey floats?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah.
I'm just checking in with you. I'm just seeing what's going on over there.
Because gravy is made from the fat mixed with some flour or whatever, and
Okay.
water is more dense than oil. Oil slick on the top.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be lighter.
Right. But you think gravy is just only grease?
And flour and some whatever spice drippings.
Okay. All right, man. Just checking in with you, just seeing what's going on over there. All right.
I don't make gravy much, but
I can see that.
I have an idea.
All right. All right, we checked in. Alyssa says 10 gallons. I say 3. Seems to be the most. James and the Giant Peach can never be president. He's living in peach. Yeah, I don't know. Does that count as a dad joke? I mean, it's pretty out there. My gravy don't float. The fork floats in the gravy.
What kind of gravy?
That's a gravy with the thickness. Does milk float?
I think it just mixes in.
Oh, God, does it? Yeah. Well, all right. We don't have any new members today. Where are we at? We're at an hour and a half. We're at 1 hour and 35 minutes. What's up? What else do you want to talk about today?
Oh,
I don't know.
jeez. I don't know, man. Play Minecraft if you've got time.
You got Y'all got Minecraft out there? If you were a member, you'd have our Minecraft server. I guess I got to put it. I guess we might as well go public with it at some point, huh?
Yeah.
We'll post it up. Addictive tendencies is waving. Oh, I missed a call? Oh my god. We missed a call
How?
a few seconds ago.
Was it quiet?
Oh, you got to get into the call. Hey man, you can't just call me individually. Hold on. I guess you can. Wait. Where's the call button? Call back. Oh, I think I have to add friend. Where's the call button? Call. Oh my god. I don't know where the call button went on Discord. I'm in the... Okay, hold on. I'm going to hang this up. And let's try to call Addictive Tendencies back.
Did he leave a message?
Send message. Where's the call button? Okay. I have no idea why the call button doesn't work. There's just not one. Normally you just like call back. Copy message link. No, maybe it's on this. Call. Oh, there it is. I was just doing it wrong. All right, we're calling back. We're going to see what's going on with addictive tendencies.
Have you tried the high door DC variable pump?
The high door
Mm-hmm.
DC variable pump? No, I don't. No.
Hey,
Oh, I hung up.
What?
hey,
Oh, I'm back.
Joe.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I got you here.
Hey,
Hey, what's going on?
can I hear Alyssa as well?
Yeah,
Yeah, Alyssa's here too.
Oh,
I am.
what's up? Hey.
You
Hi,
can't
guys.
Look around. Don't look around. What are you doing? Okay, what's going on?
Well, I mean, a lot's going on. Well, for one, some addictive tendencies are calling right now.
That's true.
No, it's very true, yes. I just wanted to kind of add to a little bit about like what Alyssa was talking about. I can totally relate right now because I have like an FX4 hooked up to like my 55 gallon, and this thing is like not bringing me any more joy. It's like, and I'm really regretting it.
It's
And it just
bringing
kind of becomes a pain in the butt.
It's bringing the opposite of joy. Yeah, it's one of those weird things. Like, I know a lot of people that were like pushing really hard to get like the FX6 and stuff like that, because they're like $400, man. They ain't cheap.
Yeah.
And I think the FX4 is obviously cheaper, right? But I know a lot of people back in the day were like, man, I'm gonna get an FX6. It's gonna rip, dude. It's gonna be so awesome. And then 3-4 months into it, they're like, I gotta take this thing apart and mess with it again. Like, ugh. Yeah.
Well, it's
And
funny
like a
because it
big
was actually like a
freaking bucket.
Yeah,
Was that?
it is. Is that what did you call it, a big effing bucket?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big old wonky bucket with a gasket on top of it, and you gotta like unscrew it and do all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, man. When I work on my sumps, it's literally like, oh, I take out the filthy pad there and I cut a new one and stick it in. There we go. Do a water change. Let's go. Like,
Yeah. 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 Not only that, but it's like I think I like it's like the perfect storm for me too, because it's like it's the biggest tank I've ever had, which is the 55 gallon. It's the first time I've ever had a canister filter, and then also it's the first time I've ever had like a pressurized CO2 system. So it's just like all of those things combined into one. It's just like it's so much of a headache. So I'm just like, you know what? I need to I have a 40 breeder on standby. I'm just kind of like taking my time to do the setup right this time.
right.
I think I kind of like rushed into this one because I was really excited for like the biggest setup I ever had, type of thing, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like I advocate for things like a sump, and people are like, "Oh my God, that's such a big pain in the ass," and I'm like, I guess maybe like on setting it up, you know, like that probably takes like a little bit more work, I guess.
You know what the biggest pain in the butt is for having a sump? It's when you have goldfish and then there's a sump beneath it. Then the baby goldfish can make their way down into the sump, and then you have freaking goldfish babies to deal with.
Or you could just have like all males or all females.
Well, I'm not gonna throw away perfectly good goldfish.
Well, you don't have to throw them away. You could probably just only keep one sex, and then they wouldn't breed.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't have babies to deal with.
When
That's
you get
a thing that you could do.
when you get the like weird breeds of goldfish, like the Ryukin and
I mean,
whatever, they're harder to sex because they've been bred for certain tendencies for so long that it's like harder to be like, okay, well, these fins are kind of round and they kind of do this or they do that, and it's like the only two goldfish that I have whose sex I'm actually confident of is the two that breed.
Oh.
So hey, Alyssa, like
Yeah.
also like how I mean, how big is your family? You know, like give some of those little fish to some of your nieces and nephews. You know, you can never be
Right.
too young to be introduced into the hobby.
They all live like a million miles away, though.
Yeah, it's like,
Oh,
driving them like up over the mountains and across Montana and all the way to freaking Minnesota. It's a long drive.
are you telling me you wouldn't climb the Himalayas to bring your young niece a goldfish?
That
I
sounds
would
too
not.
far. That sounds tiring, dude. That sounds tiring as all get out, dude. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
have
even know.
actually.
Actually, like, there was somebody. I was involved with a mountaineering group where we were gonna do Kilimanjaro. And then it got canceled because of a human was injured badly. So, but I remember one of the groups I was in, they wanted to do some Himalaya stuff, you know, which of course everybody goes like Everest, but these guys wanted to do K2, and I was like, I seriously looked up like the technical climb for K2 and was just like, go F yourself. Like, there's no way. Like, dude, I love mountaineering, I love climbing and all that stuff, but it was like, oh, that's like the hardest mountain in the world to climb, basically, that you can get to. I think like there's a harder one in Antarctica or something, but like,
But that's Antarctica.
yeah, like it's like the most difficult one that you can get to, basically. And it's like,
And it's never like the vertical, right? It's just the harsh conditions that it takes to get to the destination, right?
well, it's conditions and vertical and the technical aspects. Like K2 pretty much like has all these crazy stretches of like 400 feet of ascent that is like as technically challenging as it can be to ice climb. You know, like, what are you doing? You know, and it's like, well, there's an easier route that you could go up but it's on the other side where their army might shoot at you while you're climbing, because they'll be like, you're not supposed to be on the mountain on that side.
Right.
So they might
What?
just fire their guns at you.
That's just another technicality,
just
another
like-
another
No
obstacle.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah, no. I'm cool with the Appalachian Trail, man. Like I've done it like 5 times. You know, I'm looking forward to the 6th without
whole
any
thing?
shots being fired. No, not the whole thing. Oh man,
Yeah.
not yet. No way.
I haven't.
I
my plan is to do the Pacific Crest Trail. One of these years, I want to do the whole thing, but I don't know if I want to do any of the like California part. Like maybe like Sacramento North. Maybe I don't want to do the desert part.
Huh.
So
I don't wanna
you've
be
mapped
in
it
the
out
desert either.
like complete. Have you completely mapped it out as far as like where you go along the trail and everything, and like how long it would take?
Yeah, Pacific Crest Trail goes from Mexico to
Oh,
Canada,
that's
and it goes like 11 miles into Canada or something like that. I've done that portion. I've done a lot of
Yeah.
the Washington portions and some of the Oregon, and like I've been to some California parts of it. I haven't done like a ton of climbing on stuff and mountaineering or hiking it or anything like that in California because it's far to go there. But yeah, it takes about 4.5 months. So you start before the fire season. You basically have to get through California, which is 1,000 miles on foot. It's maybe 1,100 or something like that. And you have to get through the California part before the wildfire season. Because more often than not, the trail will get cut off by wildfire.
Right.
So you have to start kind of early in like March and then try to get up through California, by the time
Before
May
everything
and June
catches on
starts to
fire.
hit and things like that. And then you want to get to the
Before
Canada,
things set aflame. Yeah.
yeah, and then you want to get up to the Canada border before the end of summer. So you just set yourself up so you have enough time. Now the hard part in the past was you used to have people mail you food. Basically, what you do before you left is you would set up all this trail food boxes, right? And then you would mail them to certain post offices on the way. And the post office will just hold on to that package for you until you show up. Whereas nowadays, technology is pretty good nowadays. You don't have to go to that crazy extent like you used to.
They can drone drop it
you
now.
You could Amazon stuff.
You're like in the middle of the Appalachia. You're like, yo, drone dropping. What's up? Holla.
Well, you just figure out what's the closest post office to you and just Amazon order stuff or Alibaba or whatever. I don't know, which one you like using, but and just have it delivered there. As opposed to trying to contact somebody back home and then have them go get stuff and then mail it to you. Could be a little harebrained. But
That'd be very Hunger Games.
I want to go the full Oregon and Washington lengths and have done those at some point in time. I don't know if I ever want to do the whole thing, mainly because California's kind of a bummer down there. It's all desert.
Yeah.
I don't really, not super enthusiastic about desert hiking, the hot sun.
Okay.
There's reasons why I never went to Burning Man. I don't like deserts.
That's probably not the reason you didn't go.
No, it is.
Probably because all the freaky deaky weirdos.
No, those are my friends.
I've been a couple times. It's all right.
Yeah, I don't.
No.
I don't like direct sun and
See,
dryness.
I could advise people to go to Burning Man 20 years ago,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I don't know
dude.
if I could advise them to go now. I don't know what it's like now.
I think when I turned 21, it was just okay, clubs. It's done. I don't need to go to any more clubs. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. I just feel like all that stuff is for young kids. I've never really partook in club life and Burning Man and festivals and Lollapalooza, and I've never really been any of that type of person.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand that. The club atmosphere doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I never was really, well, I'm not gonna say I never was, but I used to go clubbing and stuff because it was a good way to meet random women, I guess, and party or whatever. But I don't think most people would think the clubs that I was at was necessarily what people are envisioning in their mind.
Yeah.
You'd frequently see leather daddies and whatnot is what I could describe it as. If you don't know what a leather daddy is, you think old guy in biker gear, bondage.
Yeah,
biker
I
gear.
mean,
yeah.
See, I'm is that what I'm thinking of as a leather daddy?
Yeah. No, Joel, I know exactly what you're talking about, and there's a particular portion of the bar dedicated to that type of person at the exit in Chicago.
Yep.
Which is the city that I live in. Yeah, it's a fun place. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of weird
But yeah,
memories.
I don't know. I mean, see, Burning Man was a lot of fun. The times that I went was a long time ago now. I mean, over 20 years now.
Back when you was a young lad.
Yes, a young lad.
Wait. You went to Burning Man 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Holy crap. So, like, the literal Burning Man was, like, the size of, like, a friggin', like, it was, like, a 7-foot, 8-foot dude, right? Like, it
No,
wasn't that big, right?
It was still pretty big. It was still pretty big.
Oh, really?
I think Burning Man started probably 30 years ago. I think, like, early 90s-ish is when it was real small. By the time I went, they already had things pretty well organized. It wasn't like like 30 people out in the desert, like tripping and just being weird out there. It was, so like we went, like the first time we went early, so there wasn't a whole lot of people there when we showed up and watched it. Like how many people showed up? I think it was 30,000 people or something like that, which is a boatload of people when everyone's camping and all that kind of stuff. But the weird thing is that like it started out with like nobody, and then within a couple of days it was like the third biggest city in Nevada. You know, because Nevada has Las Vegas, Reno, and like one other city which I forget now, but it's very, very weird. But the reason that I went is because it was like, oh, there's like this art thing in the desert. Like, okay, what's it all about? Like, well, you know, money's not allowed. And you're like, wait, what? Money's not allowed? What do you mean? It was like, oh, everything, you have to barter for everything. And so I was like, huh, that's interesting. Like, okay. And what else? It's like, well, it's all artists and everybody just being weird. And it's like, okay, well, I know like a couple hundred people that are going, and I know all those weirdos, and I'm one of those weirdos. So, okay, I guess we're going. So we went out there, and it just seemed like a very interesting thing to go do. So we were just gonna like, yeah, let's go do it. Who cares? And then, you know, it was pretty interesting because we were out there for a couple weeks, and like obviously there's like drugs and all that kind of stuff going on, which was
No way.
Normal. It was pretty normal for me. That was a normal environment for me to be in. And back
Hey
then,
man,
anyhow.
that place is 100% drug free. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but you know, it was a lot of art. There's a lot of artists, a lot of people doing a lot of like really fun stuff. One of the things that I could explain is that when we went there, somebody had erected an entire Thunderdome, right?
Okay.
So if you've seen Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, somebody erected an entire Thunderdome. Okay?
Hell yeah.
It's dark out. It's dark outside. They have a full PA set up. They had literal people like dressed up like Thunderdome characters, and a lot of the people there look like Thunderdome characters. We're in the desert. It's very post-apocalyptic. There's fire things going off all over the place, and they're having Thunderdome battles inside the Thunderdome while we're all crawled up on top of it, yelling and screaming at them, just like in the movie, which was very weird when you're on a lot of LSD and weird wine that somebody had made. And, you know, it was like a very wild experience. And then
That's awesome.
A friend of a friend of a friend was performing there an opera that night. Did a full opera performance, including the song from The Fifth Element. If you've ever heard The Fifth Element with the diva, the blue lady sings. She did that song.
It's like one of my top one favorite films of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
go ahead.
Yeah, so she did that song out in the desert on the Thunderdome with all the Mad Max characters and Mad Max mobiles driving around, shooting fire out of them and stuff. And it was very odd. And I'm just saying, like, it was very odd. And it was an experience to have been through. Now, we spent, like, a couple weeks there, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Now tell us about night 2.
What's that? Oh, I don't even know what night it was.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I could tell you another strange experience that was there. Somebody erected a whole entire, an entire emerald city. So I'm talking like 40-foot aluminum scaffolding with plate glass hung in between them to look like giant emeralds sticking out of the ground, like a whole bunch of them. Then
So, like,
they put a big
like
giant tent up, like a circus tent, in the middle of these. They were shooting green lasers up through the emeralds, right? So they had the physical emeralds and then lasers shooting out of this thing. And then inside of it was this like crazy Wizard of Oz themed like DJs and art and lasers and like all sorts of craziness. And by the way, you're like dehydrated, you've been partying like nonstop for a week in the desert on all sorts of drugs and alcohol and everything and blah 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 blah, and like people are just wilding out. And on top of it, everybody is pretty much like 100% focused on a community lifestyle, right? Like there's no commerce going on. You're supposed to trade for things. Like you're really not supposed to be, it's just supposed to be no money involved when I went. And that's pretty much the vibe you had the whole time. So if you were not feeling well, people would take care of you. If you like, oh man, I ran out of beer, somebody would just give you a beer. If you were like, I'm hungry, somebody would be like, oh, those guys over there are cooking. And you'd go over and be like, do you guys have any extra food? And they'd be like, yeah, come eat with us. It's cool. And like, so it was, that was like the biggest. All the art and all that kind of stuff is fantastic and amazing to see all the people doing all that really cool stuff. But the biggest part for me, the biggest takeaway was, what does humanity look like when you don't have the sort of like oppressing day-to-day interaction with current society, right? Where it's like you got your mortgage payment and you got to drive in your commute and you got to do this and you got to tell this person that thing, and the TPS report has to have a cover sheet on it, and somebody stole your stapler. I don't know, whatever, all that kind of crap. Just how people would interact with each other was like, oh yeah, everyone's like pretty rad, when you get down to it. And every shape and walk of person you could imagine I ran into at Burning Man. So it wasn't just like one type of person or anything like that. It was just everybody having a good time pretty much, more or less. And that was the big takeaway, is like, oh, most people are just wanting to interact and be a part of a community or whatever. And like I said, it wasn't just like 100% people goofing off. It was like, people taking care of each other, people erecting these like giant things. People would not let you litter. Littering was no. Littering was not going to happen. Like literally people would be like, do you have a trash bag with you? Do you have a container,
pack in, pack out.
Pack in, pack out, like leave no mark. And I will say, a lot of most everybody that was there packed it in, packed it out, and pretty much left no mark on the that was there. You could see like footprints and tire tracks and stuff like that, but there pretty much was like no garbage left over. There wasn't stuff all over the ground, which is to me a big time bummer. When I go out to state parks and stuff like that, and there's trash and old tires and garbage and people's fire not being put out and all sorts of stuff like that. I see that all the time. And
not cool.
I'm actually working with some guys filming campsite cleanups. And I don't know where I'm going to post those videos. But I don't know if I'm going to put them on this channel or push them off to a different channel or not. But we've been filming a bunch of cleanups from, sort of a lot of people before were having problems like trash in the environment when they went out. But this over the last 2 years, these last 2 seasons here with COVID, the uptick in abuse of our like natural forest or our what is it? Our national forest or not natural forest. It really has, the uptick has been like 400% or something like that. But who knows what that number is? But it is way worse than it was before, which is saying something because it was real bad, So, working on all these little projects I got going like that is sort of like, it's great. It's fantastic. I'm I'm going to keep doing the fish tank stuff. That's just not going to go anywhere.
Right.
But, working on things like that to try and like hopefully, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. Like, can you maybe like change some people's like perspective on things or not or whatnot? I don't know, because having gone to Burning Man back then, it really made it easier to empathize with people I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, absolutely.
It made it a lot easier to go like, oh, I don't know that person, but I have empathy for them, and I'm not necessarily going to be like completely negative with this interaction, because it's going to give myself an opportunity to go like, I wonder what they're going through. I wonder what's going on with them.
I
Because they
know
most
a lot
likely are wanting to just not be an F up, not be screwing up, right?
I know a lot of people who talk about going into the military in the same way, because they're, you're lumped into a situation with a bunch of people from all over the country that
Right.
you've never would have interacted with before. And so you get to know like those kinds of people, like what their mindset is,
Yeah,
where they're coming
it's
from.
like part. It's basically like part of the assimilation process. It's like, yeah, it ought to be how everyone's assimilated into America. It's just is to discover how diverse we are as a nation.
Right.
And then to obviously use that to our strength somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, and that
but-
was like one of the really big things, is that like, when I was a kid, obviously I'm like 41 or something like that now. When I was a
Yeah.
young guy, I don't know if it's not necessarily like a segregation issue, but I think it is pretty normal for teenagers to sort of like segregate themselves into a clique, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's the goth kids, oh, it's the jocks, oh, it's that's the music kids, whatever. Like, I think it's pretty normal for
Who's
that
gonna
to
abuse me
happen.
the least?
When you're
isn't
when
it?
you're young, like,
It's the Joe Rogan in us. It's the ape in us.
right.
That's our natural instincts. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, but like, we're supposed to evolve and
Right.
become more
Right.
of an adult
Exactly.
and learn like, oh,
Yes.
yeah, you might be, you might
We're
be of
supposed
like
to
a
be more
different social
responsible
clique,
with the knowledge that we have. We're supposed to be
Right.
more responsible with the knowledge that we have. Yeah.
well, Joe Rogan's supposed to be more responsible with his platform, not
That's
his knowledge.
that's pretty
his
much what I was
platform.
trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
In
I mean,
a little underhanded way.
yeah.
I got that from going to college, actually, going away to college from my hometown. Like, I learned a lot of how to be a person, just
Right.
going to like public school. And
Well, I remember actually I was talking about that a while ago. Remember when and it alienated a bunch of fish fan people. They got super mad at me. But it was a study that was done on. It was basically like, would you maintain your conservative viewpoints of the world if you were a housewife forever, right? And like, why does that?
Wait,
Why
what?
does-
Wait, what?
like if I got married right out of high school and just never went to college or
Yeah.
something.
Because
And then
what ends up happening is that you end up being super isolated, right? If you
what
have
kind
a
of
kid,
bondage is that?
what's that?
I don't know. It's like that's some weird form of bondage. Like really,
Well,
like wow.
It was some scientists trying to figure out like what are the effects of a stay-at-home parent, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And one of those effects were you become more conservative the more isolated you come, or the more isolated you continue to be in life, right? And the parallels sort of spread out from that, because they were like, okay, you have a tendency to become more and more like kind of hyper conservative as you become more isolated as a parent who stays home, right? And why is that effect? And they go, okay, well, the reality is that you become hyper dependent on one other person for your financial standing, right? So whatever they're generally going along with, you generally go along. You're also the kind of authoritarian over your kids, which parents are supposed to be. You're supposed to be in charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of whatever you say goes, sort of gets reaffirmed regardless of whatever you're doing, right?
Right.
And you have much less contact with other adults who are going to interact with you and say, hey, that's a weird thought process. Stop that, right?
Yeah.
And so the way that they kind of figured that out was they started studying housewives that had kids young, so between the ages of 17 and 23, I think was the age range,
Yeah.
and then went to college once their kids had been fully grown, and how their sort of political beliefs changed and why they changed, because it was like now you go to college and you meet all sorts of people, and you're in a position where it's like, oh, I'm just going to school now because my kids are all grown, so now I'm just going to focus on going to school and meeting all these new people. And you get exposed to all these new people, and it changes your political stance, basically, because you have empathy for other people, because now you have actual contact with other people. And it's very strange because you start to realize, like, oh, because humans are social, we're social creatures, and you need to, like, interact with other people in order to have sort of, oh, you're just, like, have a moderate viewpoint. Like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. And if you only interact with the same 20 people, everybody else who's a stranger, because you don't know them, they're unknown, which means that they're scary.
Right.
And that makes it harder to develop empathy with those people. And yeah, fear of the other, fear of the unknown.
Yeah, fear of anything that's outside of your bubble, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. It's like, I mean, I don't want to delve too deep into it, but I will say that, like, I have some family members that are conservative. At least they think they are. They're not really. They just like to think that they're in the know, and so like these right-wing talking points kind of speak to them, and so it's like, I don't know. They have this worldview, and they're sticking to it, and they're just constantly fed, their narrative lines, and it's just like they just want to stir up trouble. I mean, I think it's like at this point for them, it like brings them purpose, and it's kind of sad. But I'm just like,
Right.
hey man, do your thing, and it's like, everybody inside of their little bubble is like their friends, and everybody outside of it is like the enemy. And it's like,
Right.
if
I know
I
it's like-
come into your bubble, you're automatically like, as a defense mechanism, just going on the defense. I'm like, I can't talk to this human being at all. I'm just like, I'm talking to a shield. Like, what am I doing here? It's weird.
Right. And it's kind of weird because it's more often or not it's sort of delivered in a way that is reaffirming realistically a very singular thought process, right? Of sort of just like protectionism type stuff, it's like, well, I have to respect the military. It's like, yeah, respect the military, but if they are doing something that you disagree with, like, you're supposed to be able to criticize the military. It's like, no, you got to support the troops. And it's like, yeah, I support the troops, that's fine, but they could be doing something I disagree with, right?
Right.
No, you got to support the troops. You got to back the blue. It's like, okay, I want police. I want good police. I want police to do good work. That's 100%, right? Like yesterday would be a perfect example of somebody having wild backlash at me utilizing the police, right? There was a dog on my front porch, right? And I go like, is this Cujo we're talking about? Or are we talking about like a little Labrador with like a little Pomeranian? Or it was a pit bull.
okay.
Somebody's pit had gotten out.
I just want the image to be clear.
There's a dog on my porch, and I'm like, Biddy, our little dog, is up there barking at the door. I'm like, what's going on? I open the front door. There's a dog right there staring at me. And, not the biggest dog in the world, probably 50 pounds or something like that, but that's big enough to, like, bite me or whatever. I just had eye surgery a week ago. I don't want to be interacting with somebody's wild-ass dog.
Right.
And the dog starts growling because Biddy's barking and shit. And, You don't know. Dude, I don't know if this dog's going to bite me. I don't know if this dog's not going to bite me. All right, so I shut the door. All right, the dog will leave. I don't know whose dog it is. It doesn't have a collar on it, so there's no way for me to, like, corral it.
Right.
But I just got to grab the dog by its face, you know? Like,
Right.
no, I'm not going to do that.
Just give it a treat. It'll love you completely.
So then, like, I'm like, who cares? Like, this dog will probably
Cut to the next reel where the dog's he's got reign of the family.
Right.
New daddy in town. Papa Bless. What's up?
Yeah. So my assumption is that the dog would take off, right? Well, like 15 minutes goes by and Biddy is still out there by the front door. She's not barking, but she's like, and the dog is still on the porch. So I go around outside and I get the dog, like, get out of here. Like, go on. Dog runs down, runs back up on the porch, won't get off the porch. Like, all right, not my dog, doesn't have a collar on it. I don't know whose dog this is.
Right.
So I go back inside. Then another 10 minutes goes by. The damn dog is still on the porch. So I'm like, all right, fine. So I call animal control. And I'm like, there's a dog on my porch. It's not trying to kill me, but it won't leave my porch. It's growling,
They're like,
it's growling
sir,
at my
have you
dog.
searched? Yeah, sorry.
It's like, I'm like, it's growling at my dog. I'm not sure if it's going to bite my dog or whatever. I don't know. Either way, it's not my dog. I don't want it here, right? And it's on my porch, and it won't leave. So I call animal control. Eventually, they come out. The dog's been, like, running around and coming back to the porch for some reason. I don't know why. Now, I'm like, I go tell Vicky, I go, hey, there's a dog on our porch, and I called animal control. Just leave it alone. Don't, but of course, Vicky's like immediately got it. Like, oh my God, there's a dog. I'm like, I just told you, I called animal control. Just leave it alone. She's got to go out there and get involved. So now she's involved. Then animal control shows up. The dog it's jumping up. It's a very young pit bull. Like maybe it's a couple years, it's like 2 or something. So it's full grown, but it's like not trained. It's spazzing out. It's jumping up on people. Like, fine. They get the dog figured out. Turns out it's from somebody back over there, right? Now that lady starts fighting with animal control. She's screaming at Vicky. She's screaming at animal control. F you, F this, F that, blah, blah, blah. It's unbelievable, blah, 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 all this stuff. Then she's screaming at Vicky about how we should be more neighborly, right? And it's like this and that and the other thing.
Wait,
they get in an argument.
Who needs to be more neighborly? What are you talking about?
If the dog gets out, get out, go look for it.
And so she goes, your husband needs to be more neighborly, and this is da-da-da-da-da, and I'm going to get in trouble for this, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, this is what happens when you're an idiot. You get in trouble for doing stupid shit you're not supposed to be doing, right?
Oh,
now, regardless of any of that, like, my whole point is like, I don't know everybody's dog on the block. Everybody around here has dogs. Half of the houses around here have hyper-aggressive dogs that are slamming into the fence and barking whenever you walk down the street.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm sure it's the same in your neighborhood. You don't live that far from here.
I'll tell you about the hyper dog in my neighborhood.
And so
soon.
it's like, but I'm not. How am I supposed to know everybody's dog? First of all, how am I supposed to catch your dog? It doesn't even have a collar on it. Like, and if I could catch your dog, like, what? There's animal control. That's their job. I got work to do. Mm-hmm. Like, I ain't got time to, like, capture other people's dogs and then figure out, like, where does this dog live and then take the dog back for them and all this stuff. So,
you know what, like, Joel? I'm really starting to question your wild rabbit dog catching skills. You know that?
It's true. It's true. Me too. I am also. I'm deeply questioning.
You're kind of slipping, ability. Man. You're kind of slipping. I mean, come on.
I am slipping, but I had eye surgery a week ago, and I don't want to F it up because it's my freaking eyes, man.
Right. You need those.
And they warned me.
Depth. You need that depth perception, right?
They said
true.
Don't wrangle wild-ass dogs.
There was a long list of stuff I'm not supposed to be doing for like another week.
Yeah.
And one of them would be wrangling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What a fun word. Wrangle.
Yeah,
wrangle. Wrangle.
But, like, it's a perfect example of, like, somebody who's just super pissed because the cops are involved now. And it's like, these aren't even the police. It's animal control.
Right.
right? And yes, they might issue you a citation because your dog got out again. Because apparently the lady is super pissed because animal control was called 2 other times with the same dog, and she's gonna get fined. You know, but then
fix
it's like
the problem.
but then it's like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have this dog. You know, but then it's like, what am I being a jerk because somebody can't afford to keep their dog like in their yard? I don't know. I don't, you know. And I'm just like, dude, what do you want me to do?
And then they're like, wait, excuse me, sir. How dare you inconvenience me, sir?
Yeah, sir. Yeah. So it's a very Karen moment, you know.
Oh, no, thank you.
Just as a for instance, in my neighborhood, not right across the street, but to an angle or whatever, there's this dog, and anytime anybody goes by, this dog just goes bark, 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 bark. Now, it's like this big, and it's also like this big around.
Right.
It's got these little legs that are like this big.
The meatball.
So he just kind of waddles up to the fence gate.
Barking.
Bark, bark, bark.
It's like Biddy. It's like Biddy barking at people like, what are you doing?
It's clearly a female dog, and I can't tell if I can tell that it's female because maybe it's pregnant, but also we've been in the house for a long time, and the dog hasn't changed shape at all, so I'm assuming that it's not that it's pregnant or anything. I think it's a dachshund. Yeah. Anyway.
Just a fat wiener dog.
Yeah, it's just a fat wiener dog. Really, the animals in the neighborhood are like the cats. And then other than that, like the people down the street have their like really well trained standard poodle that they go for walks, and a little bit further down the street there's like the ancient what are they called, golden retriever. It goes for walks. His name is Max.
Max.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Dogs. Just dogs in the
neighborhood. All right, we got 3:30. All right, we got to go.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks
well, okay, so real quick, guys, before I leave, can I just say one thing real quick? I just want to thank you, Joe, and also you, Alyssa, and you, Joel. You guys are a wealth of knowledge. I really do enjoy and appreciate the Discord. It's full of fun, memes, laughter, fun, and a wealth of knowledge. And then Joel as well, man. You sprung out just this wealth of knowledge with your channel on YouTube and contributed to the community in like an enormous way. And I want to thank you for shit. I've learned so much, man. And I just want to thank you for posting. Thank you for posting.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, thanks for being a part of the community, man. I don't know if people realize how much I appreciate it or not, but like Discord's a perfect example of like having a community of people that are around just being cool. And like I love having conversations with people, especially when it's like I have a different point of view. Mm-hmm. And then people are like, "Oh man, Joel was like so mad," and I was like, "I was not mad at all. I don't know. I mean, like I like talking about crazy stuff, so it's you know." But it's great having you guys around and being a part of a fun group of people, man. I appreciate it a lot. I hope we can continue to grow or not. I've been pretty straight up about the like, hey man, we might end up with just one person and then they're gonna take over the show. So
yeah, no, I think I'm actually I have a funny feeling. Yeah. I think we're gonna see some like some growth in some new ways actually coming up. So I don't know, we'll see. But either way, I'm really I'm so appreciative, and I just wanted to express my gratitude to be a part of the community. And thank you again for sharing this time with me. I appreciate it. And thank you again, Alyssa.
Yeah. All right, we gotta go because it's 3:30. We got a hard out. I got some stuff I gotta do, and they'll be closed. So
later, guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.
To all you other people, all you other peoples. That's
all
right.
Y'all.
All y'all over here.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for watching. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thanks for being a patron. Thanks for being a member on YouTube. We had no super chats today, so we didn't need to recount any of that.
Hey.
We didn't even need to go back to the what do you call it, super chat. Well, we had a message from Wesley, who's been a member for 12 months. What's up, buddy?
Yeah.
He's our admin helper with our Minecraft server, so shout out to Wesley for being not only a member but also contributing something words. All right,
He
well,
helps us be entertained.
I'm gonna push these buttons, and you're all gonna have to deal with it.